Hi guys, welcome! In this video, we'll dive into the first build of Khalitzburg for PVE, which is the Holy Poison build. This build setup combines Khalitzburg's ability to unleash massive amounts of Holy Element physical skill damage over time and the utilization of poison damage increase items. The only drawback of this build is that it's highly team reliant. You'll need your party Saint or Refreezy to convert your attacks to Holy Element, and your Saint to convert the enemy's armor into Dark Element for maximum effectiveness. Applying poison status also lowers the DPS potential of Ronin in your party. If you missed our previous discussion regarding Khalitzburg's skill mechanics and an analysis of her pros and cons, you can find the video link below. This time we'll cover everything you need to know, from stats, runes, gears, cards, upgrades, and battle setup to guide you in optimizing your Khalitzburg's Holy Status build for PvE. Alright, without further ado, let's begin. First, for attribute point distribution, prioritize Racing Strength to increase melee physical attack, which serves as a foundation of your damage output. You also need to boost Agi to increase the damage of Flower of Hope, wherein every point of Agi increases Flower of Hope's damage by 1%. As for the remaining attribute points, just allocate it on Vit since her HP recovery depends on her max HP. You may also tweak your stat distribution based on the cards and gears that you plan on using. As an example, if you intend to inlay a Zanubic card in your garment, then it's more beneficial to put some points on Int and Dex for extra skill damage. If you're planning to inlay a Biochemistry Baphomet card in your accessory, then it's a must to get all attributes to at least 119 points each for enhancing physical damage. As for damage modifiers, these are the ones that can further boost Khalitzburg's damage output. Since Khalitzburg has a passive skill that gives 1% ignore physical def for every 1% physical pen, the 200% ignore physical def requirement for the current high-level instances can be easily attained. Up next, let's take a look at Khalitzburg's runes. As mentioned in the Khalitzburg skill analysis video, reaching level 4 core passive skill would already suffice in PvE. This because the Khalitzburg puppets that you can summon at level 7 core passive usually don't survive long when hit by random AoE damage. What's more crucial is getting a high first line value on these two essential runes. The S rune for Wildflower's Doom, which grants skills up to 30% chance to crit, dealing double the damage. And the Star rune for Flower of Hope, which boosts Flower of Hope's damage to enemies in Misfortune and Afterlife Misfortune state by up to 50%. As for the other runes, it's of lower priority to aim for a high first line value. For attribute runes, prioritize leveling up the following for improving damage. As for the arcane runes, I recommend getting the White Blade rune for improving damage when there's only one enemy nearby, Frenzied rune to boost your movement speed and max HP, and War Preparedness rune to gain a shield when attacking. If you have trouble sustaining SP during long fights, then you may swap with Spirit rune to prevent running out of SP. Up next, let's dive into the recommended equipment set and cards. First, for weapon, Khalitzburg's exclusive weapon Time of Birth would be the best slot. Aside from giving a huge boost in physical attack, physical damage, and physical pen, its tier 5 upgrade increases the chance of dropping rose petals from 30% to 50%, and thus Memory of Fallen Petals and Misfortune would proc more often. Here are the materials for crafting the base weapon Death Festival. And these are the materials for synthesizing it into Time of Birth and upgrading to tier 5. Another option is the Natus' Sword of Hogni, which boosts skill damage and movement speed. However, upon testing, it gives 15 to 30% less damage output compared to Time of Birth. Your weapon should be enchanted with Sharp Blade 4 and High PDI, and inlaid with Drake's Dark card to trigger the Inside effect, and Lord of Death card to increase your final damage to poison targets by 20 to 25%. For offhand, the top two options for main equipment are Dragonbone Shield for boosting physical damage by 36% or Lamp of Soul Guidance for boosting holy damage by 24%. As for the Phantom offhand, you may either use a Skeleton Bracer, which has a useful tier 5 effect for survivability, or a Vink Magic Bracelet, which grants better offensive stats. Your offhand should be enchanted with Armor Breaking 4 and High PDI, and inlaid with any of the following cards. For armor, the top two options for main equipment are Dragon Scale Armor or Horror Bones Battle Gear with 20% damage to large size. As for Phantom Armor, you may either use the Perseverance Armor or the Chosen's Armor. Your armor should be enchanted with Morale 4 and High PDI, and inlaid with Chimera Star card as it is the best option for the Poison build. For garment, the universal choice for physical skill damage dealers is Brave Warrior's Pauldron with 12% skill damage as main equipment, and White Duke's Manteau as phantom equipment. Your garment should be enchanted with High PDI and inlaid with any of the following cards depending on the stat you're lacking. For footgear, the options for main equipment are Dragon Slayer War Boots with 6% physical pen or Overlord War Boots with 6% physical damage. While for phantom equipment, you may either use the Little Fairy Slippers or St. Mary's Cloth Shoes. Your footgear should be enchanted with High PDI and inlaid with Ancient Mistletoe card for improving damage or Edga's Star card for permanent endure effect. For accessories, I recommend using Pendant of Eugene with 4.5% physical damage or Gold Earring with 4.5% pen for the main equipment slot. As for the Phantom equipment slot, the top options are Hermit's Bundle or Cat Paw Stamp. All accessories should be enchanted with Sharp Blade 4 and High PDI and inlaid with Devil Governor card and Alien Valkyrie Wrath Crazy card. For headwear, these are my top picks for each slot. Just choose depending on availability and the stat you're lacking. The only required headwear is the Flower Demon Valley Lily Tail item for consistently applying poison status and to improve damage and survivability against poisoned enemies. As for headwear enchantment, aim for Sharp Blade 4th enchant on your tail item and Morale 4th enchant on your face and back items. As for headwear card, you may use any of the following for enhancing damage. Up next, here are the other upgrades that you can invest in to further boost your damage. For Acer Monument, activating all the nodes will grant the following stats. Notably, you'll get 16% Ignore Physical Def, 10% Physical Pen, 10% Physical Damage, 12% Physical Attack, and 10% Movement Speed. For guild buffs, maxing out your Blessings and Prayers will grant additional Raw Physical Attack, Ignore Physical Def, Physical Pen, and Holy Damage. For Oracle Mirror Extract, the top options are Combustible Knife for Physical Pen, Guild Disarm for damage to MVP, Heavy Spear for holy damage, Claw for physical attack, or Giant Axe for damage to dark monsters. For Ancient Relics, you may focus on increasing damage using Lord of Vane, Era Fire Seed, or Chaotic Blade. You may also opt to improve survivability using Horn of the Unyielding. For multi-job, you can unlock the following classes to get more strength and agi. For Adventure Handbook, just focus on collecting items and achievements that grant physical attack when unlocked or deposited. Finally, let's take a look at some tips for using Khalitzburg in battle. First, put the buff skills and prepare for Elite. Wildflower's Doom triggers critical damage and boosts her physical pen and skill damage by 30%, while Knight of Honor increases the whole party's survivability and grants endure effect for a few seconds. If you've already reached level 7 core passive, you may also place Rose Incarnation and prepare for Elite to summon 2 Khalitzburg puppets. These puppets account for around 20% of Khalitzburg's total damage if they manage to stay alive. Their attacks cannot trigger the critical effect from Rune, but can proc the Rose Petals, which complements Khalitzburg's damage. Then place these skills in the manual and auto skill bars. It's better to manually cast Flower of Hope and Secret of the Rose to maximize damage efficiency. You may also opt to cast Knight of Honor manually to maintain the endure effect. Once you're all set, use the following consumables which can help boost your damage. For the item quick bar, place your mount, HP and SP recovery potions, panacea, and alloys. Before engaging the boss, cast first Prepare for Elite to buff yourself and your teammates and to summon the Khalitzburg puppets. Then cast Echo of Fallen Petals to summon 3 Rose Petals at the start of the battle. After that, you can turn on Auto Battle to start attacking the target. From time to time, manually cast Flower of Hope for a huge boost in damage on a single enemy, and Secret of the Rose for a large AoE damage to multiple targets. You will need to frequently move around to step on the Rose Petals, triggering the Misfortune debuff and the Memory of Fallen Petals Wind Blades damage. So that's it for my Khalitzburg Holy Status build guide for PvE. Using this build will significantly improve your party's performance when clearing PvE instances, especially in Whitestar Airship. However, there is another set of build you'll need to prepare for other instances, which is a fire non-status build. We'll talk about this build in another video, so stay tuned for that. Please feel free to leave a comment if you have any question or suggestion. Alright, that's it for this video guys. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed watching this guide. If you're new here, I would love for you to consider subscribing by hitting the red subscribe button down below. I would love to have you back. Thank you for watching and see you in our next episode.